Hey, what's happening? Welcome. I got a fun one for you today. Little wall sconce planter, solar LED. Pretty cool, lit up at night. Kind of dress up those boring areas. So it's a little longer video, more than I expected, but I wanted to get all the components in, so no confusion. So I did make a ground counterpart to this, which was my original idea that I was going to go with. But some viewers in the comments mentioned like lanterns and sconce lights and stuff, so I figured, well, that's a good idea. So I made this. The other video I'll have out real soon to match this, so I have a nice set to build. I did look online that if I would have told you how much for, you would probably have me checked for illegal substances, but I'll show you. Now, I wouldn't expect, you're not going to get that price, and if you're in the market somewhere that you can sell them for that, let me know, and I'll be moving there shortly. I'll sell my house, and I'm heading there. So it takes less than 2 pickets to build this, so add the light, maybe $8. So before we get into build, I'm going to have you take a couple screenshots. I'm going to give you the main components. These railings and these little trim pieces, you can use scraps, or you'll have plenty left over from the 2 pickets. So I'll just write down like the angles and stuff. So mostly you're just going to make these a little bigger and then just mark where you need to and then cut. So I'll get the main components and the angles. It's kind of hard to draw these little pieces out, but if you follow the video, it should make sense. Okay, we got our 2 fence pickets. Set one aside. So I did surface both sides. Some nice clean edges. Now we're going to start our roof section. And we're going to cut 46 inches square. Then we'll take it over to the table saw, and then we'll do some 45-degree bevels on it. So let me demonstrate. Okay, we got our 46-inch piece. Set the other one aside. Tilt your blade to 45 degrees. And we just line it up. So it just cuts the edge. We want it to go the same direction. So all we'll do is flip this over. Pointed side up. Should look just like that. Okay, now the fun part. So I made this little rough mock-up, just easier to show the components. So we're going to be doing the roof sections first, and this bottom piece, which is basically it's the same thing as the roof. The roof is at a 45-degree slope. So to get that, we're going to need our miter set at 22.2, and your bevel is going to be set at 20.7. So don't let the decimals fool you. So we're getting it in the ballpark. So 20.7 is close to 21, so we'll just back that off a little bit. And your miter's 22.2. So I will be getting a digital bevel to set my angle, and then use a scrap piece of wood to, set it more precise to your saws. But we're going to get it pretty close. I'll show you on the miter saw. Okay, first we're going to set your miter to 22.2. You can see where 22.5 is. So we'll just kind of get right basically in the center of that. Okay, I'll just lock that down. And now we'll tilt our bevel to the right. Okay, so we just need to set our bevel to 20.7. So that's at 20 there. And in between, so we'll go close to 21 somewhere. Looks good to me. Lock it down. And there's our setup. Okay, now for the first one, make sure your point's down. We're going to cut this point off. Now we flip it. So you want this point here to here, about 2 1/16. Just make a mark on your saw. Set this aside. Flip it again. Now we're going to alternate the cuts. Kind of so the cups are the same. So we're going to start the smaller one. Now you just cut the point out. Set this one over. So now we'll repeat for the bigger one. Flip it. Do the smaller one. Cut the point out. Okay, you should have 6 of these small pieces. 3 and 3. 3 of their bigger ones. Now you can cut your light out before. I forgot, but so what I'm going to do. So we'll come up 2 and 3/8. We'll just square a line over. Just kind of center it up. So basically, I did make a template. If you've seen the other solar path planners, basically just line it up and draw it out. So that's a basic shape that you're going to need. I'll drill a hole here. Put it like that. Probably easier to cut before you cut it off the main board. Okay, now we glue and pin nail. Just make sure you don't do like I did. Pointed it this way. Make sure you try to go with the next piece this way. So you don't get those blowouts like I did. So I'm going to try some CA glue. See if I can hold the angle better. CA glue and some wood glue. Just hold it for a few seconds. See if she holds. Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, I'll go through and pin it. Okay, we're going to let that stuff dry. Now you should still have this angled piece left over. Okay, so now out of the full leftover piece, you're going to cut 18 inches. And your your other full sheet, we're going to cut 18 inches. Once we cut the 18, then we'll glue them together. If your edges are rough, you might want to clean the edges up a little bit, because this is going to be our backing. Okay, you should have this piece left over too. We'll need that. These are 2 18-inch pieces, and we still got all this left over from the other picket. We are going to glue this. Made this handy little glue table just so I can put your cauls over it and clamp it down. Set this to the side. So next, we're going to take your 45-degree piece. We're going to be making this piece here, which holds your rails, your posts. So we're going to take from long point, flat, 2 inches. We'll cut that at the table saw. So basically what it is point to point. This is going to be the same here and here. Same with the walls, is point to point. These are the same size. Anything other than the big roof, and that's the same size. And the back will be the same width across as these. So I'll show you. So from point to point's about 4 3/4. Just verify yours. They're on average about 4 3/4. So this is our 45 up. Basically, its taper is going to go 30 degrees in, point to point, 4 3/4. Let's take you over to the miter saw. So yeah, I screwed this up like 3 times on my mock-up. For some reason, I kept doing the long part, the wide part, point to point, but it's the short part of this is the long point. So bring your chop saw over to the left, set it to 30 degrees. Now I'm going to set the saw or the piece on like this, where the 45's up and coming out. So we'll cut that point. Okay. Now we're going to flip it over where the 45 and the long part is on the back. So we're going to measure from here over 4 3/4. It'll be a back cut. Okay, so we'll make sure our blade's on this side of the line. That's what it should look like. Just repeat. Okay, so this part, if you're not safe, I'm going to use my left hand. I'm going to go over here. You might want to get a longer piece. That's what it should look like. That's what's going to go in here. The only thing we got to do is we're going to have to take this to the saw and rip it. Or if you want to hand cut it, because it's going to be in the way of your light. There we go. So if you're not comfortable doing that, just use a handsaw. CA glue these together. Okay, what we're going to do is clean this up a little bit, your glue. This is what our rails are going to go onto, our posts. So line these points up down here and here. Make sure they're about level, flush on the outsides. Kind of want to look down your edge to see if it's about even. Glue and pin nail it. So should be good. I'll stand a little edge here, a little bit there, so it'll sit flush. Okay, now let's do the walls. So it's going to be from point to point, 4 3/4 at a 30-degree angle. We'll go back to the miter saw. Okay, you can do it this way, 30 degrees, or I'm going to lay mine flat. Do it a bevel. I'll just tilt that at 30. We'll cut a point out. Now we flip it. 4 3/4. Make sure we stay on this side of the line. So right now you could flip it and just keep repeating. But I want to keep so I'm going to keep the same match. So I want to keep this board going the same direction. Plus it helps with cupping. You know, sometimes the pickets have some kind of cupping, so I want to try to keep them the same. Plus this one has a cool grain pattern I want to keep. So it's kind of continuous. Okay, now I'll have the same pattern. So just do that 2 more times. Okay, let's glue it up. Okay, now we're going to take your wall. We're going to make a floor. So take your remaining piece and we'll just set it down, and then we'll trace the inside, and then we'll cut that out. Okay, so we should just glue it up. Drill a few weep holes. Okay, now you should have something like this. So I did screw up when I said cut 18 inches. supposed to be 21 and a half because we need our backing to come all the way down to here. So I'll just cut a couple more. That'll be for our back, then we can trace it out. Okay, before you go any further, while I'm cutting another piece, I was hoping to have everything dried and set up at the same time. We're going to go through and fill any seams, sand anything out now, make it look nice and pretty. And yes, I screwed up my grain pattern. I flipped one upside down, so oh well. Okay, now we got to put our roof together before we put our backer board on. So you could just put, cut little spacers and shove them in here, like 4 of them. But I'm gonna go ahead and make the bevel, which is make it look like that. So the bevel, if you remember, was 20.7 degrees. So you should have a bunch of scraps. Like if you've done a lot of planters or anything with pickets, you should have scraps laying around, or you have plenty of scraps left from the other picket from this project. So we're going to go to the table saw and set your tilt around 20.7. So let me show you. So yeah, we'll just get it. So there's 21. So we'll just back it up a little bit. That's pretty close. That's it. Okay, now all I'm going to do is just we'll cut an angle out. Just kind of line it up where it's anywhere. Okay, so there's your bevel. So what we're going to do is come over from this point. We'll measure over like 5/8 of an inch. Okay, we'll square this up to 0. Now we cut. Okay, now you should have something look like that. So this matches your slope. So the 2 ends, we're just going to cut one piece. Just kind of line it up. If you can see that. I don't know, come about 1.5 inches, whatever. Make a line. And that's your edge. Take the other side. Do about the same. Just kind of make a guide mark. Okay, it should look like that. Both ends. It should be about a 20.7 degree on your miter saw. Should look like that. Now we'll cut the remainder in half, then we'll join them together. Okay, so here we go. I know it's kind of hard to see on film and stuff, but once you get the pieces together, so just put your bevels together. It should look something like that. And that should match your roof line. So we'll just CA glue this together. So what I was going to do is cut 20.7 here, 20.7 this way. Same with this, and take my rip sled and then just cut it in half. If you just want to do it on the chop saw, definitely you just have to cut a bigger piece and have a longer piece to work with. Glued. Okay, it should just look something like that. So I think I'll do is I'll CA glue the edge and then glue a little bit here just to hold it, and then we can turn it around and pin nail it from the back side. Something like that. Okay, I'm going to glue and pin nail the bottom piece. So what we're going to be doing is we'll be once we get our background, we'll drill a hole for a weep hole. Okay, let's do the back. Mine is about 1.5 inches. So I'll go to the table saw, I'll rip 1.5 inches off of this piece. Alright, don't be a knucklehead and cut the wrong side of the blade like I just did. Well, it's alright, we'll center it and I'll sand that out. So what we do is just line this up again. Okay. Now, make our mark. Alright. Now I just want to trace this out. We'll cut this out. Cut this out. Come up. Cut that out. Cut that out. Okay. Let's extend these up. And then we'll meet them. So this is what we're going to cut out. And then that and that. We're almost there. Actually, I'm going to cut these out on the chop saw. And then I'll just cut these little pieces with the jigsaw. See, you glue part of this. I'm going to let this glue set up for a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm just going to stain the outside, top part of the roof. I'm going to stain the inside. And then we'll do the posts. Okay, now we'll work on our posts. So these are 30 degrees. So I cut a piece about, 13 inches. It's a little longer, then we can just trim it after. So we'll set the table saw up at 30. So our bevel width will be, to the point, will be 3/4 of an inch. Blade set at 30. Just kind of eyeball it. So now we'll need 2 more. So we'll come over 3/4. Set your blade to 0. So there's our bevel. Mark over 3/4. Now for the ends, I think I'm just going to go straight. I'm not going to put a bevel on them. Okay, so here's you put your bevels together. Should look just like that. So you could be done with this now. Glue these together and just set it in, which is totally fine. I'm going to 45 these so it sets in more snug into the roof. Yeah. If you don't want to do that, skip this step. Set your miter to 45 degrees. The first one is your bevel out and up. And this one will be opposite. You want your bevel down and out. Should come together like that. Now for the side post, we're just going to 45 the edges. Okay, now I'm going to CA glue the ends. Put wood glue in the middles, and then 3/4 inch pins. Now you just mark where we need to cut it. Same with your side posts. Set them in. Let's put our LED light in. So you can get a 20-pack of these for like I think it's $1.20 a piece. So it's like $24. Comes in different packs. You can get 16, 12, down to 4. I am an Amazon affiliate, so we'll get a small commission. And I'll leave a link in the description. But I'm just going to use the screws in case I need to change it out. So we'll just screw that in. Okay, so let's do the post. Glue and pin nail. Set the other one in before we pin it. That's about 4 13/16. Looks good. Okay, now we'll just put your sides in. Now we'll just do our little trim here. So I'm just going to rip some pieces about 5/8 of an inch. Okay, pop these in and we stain. Okay, don't forget to drill your weep hole in the bottom. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back cut this right here, like at a 45 or something. Creates like a little drip edge so it doesn't roll down the side of your wall. So if you're going to do that, just don't nail down here like I did. So I'm just going to fill any seams, any holes with glue, let it set up for a second, sand it, stain it. Should be good to go. So you know I had to make a pair, right? Yeah, these turned out pretty cool. So wife approved, and she's not afraid to hurt my feelings, so I'm going to call that a win. So I do have the ground counterpart to this, so I'll have that out. I just got to edit it maybe next day or so for your weekend warriors who want a whole complete set. Yeah, these look pretty cool on the front porch. One of those boring privacy fences, some window dressing. Hopefully that wasn't too painful. And I'm going to show you what it looks like outside, all lit up at night. Pretty cool. So let me show you. Dang, look at that. That's pretty slick. Pretty cool glow to it. Pretty sharp. Well, guys, I hope you liked. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye, guys.